My name is Courtney Stodden. My mother married me off when I was 16 years old.
Who was Courtney at 16?
A girl, minor, a child.
Most people get their driver's license at 16.
I got married at 16. I was a kid getting ready to consummate a marriage to a man older than my father.
The inspiring starlet is married to a Hollywood actor more than 3 times her age.
Believe it or not, the most stunning thing about Courtney isn't her provocative appearance. It's her birth certificate.
My mom fell in love with my husband, and she was thinking, you know what? Maybe this relationship won't work, and I'm gonna marry him.
I admitted that I told your husband that I loved him.
I'm guilty of one thing, of spoiling you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I spoiled you.
Yeah?
And you're an ungrateful child.
Do you understand why people are reacting so negatively to your circumstance?
Yes and no.
The relationship is a sexual relationship, of course, because you're married, right?
Yes.
People are going to call you a pedophile and a pervert for meeting a young girl online.
She took me aside and professed that she was in love with me.
It's not true.
And what was she going to miss in 11th grade anyway? Algebra? Whoever uses that.
He asked me out before he asked you.
No, he didn't.
You also then started joking and saying, have you ever thought about like a mother-daughter thing?
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
As Courtney and Doug became more high profile, so did the backlash. Chrissy Teigan tweeted at the then 16-year-old Courtney in 2011, "My Friday fantasy, you, dirt nap."
Christie has said, in the long run that she was going through something and she apologizes for that. But it's a real dark turn to this entire story.
What can really connect to people that are so far apart in life experiences?
Were you in love?
I thought I was. I was in love with what he groomed me into believing was true.
This might sound cheesy, maybe not to you, Father, but God.
And now in retrospect, I was never special.
Imagine being 16 years old, just about barely stepping into adulthood, when your own mother signs away your innocence. Not to protect you, but to live through you. To hand you over to a man 3 decades older, not out of ignorance, but out of ambition. Well, that's Courtney Stodden Story. And this isn't just a story about the exploitation of a teenage girl in Hollywood. It's about how the people closest to her, the people meant to shield her, played a role into putting her directly in harm's way. At the center of it all, her mother, Krista, who wasn't just simply a momager managing her daughter's career, she was projecting her own lost dreams, chasing validation through her child, and competing for the affections of a man that would eventually become Courtney's husband. Now, you probably remember all of the headlines about Courtney Stodden's marriage at 16 years old, but what you don't know is how Hollywood turned her entire life into a circus. Courtney was just 16 years old when Hollywood turned her marriage to Doug Hutchinson into a spectacle. But behind the headlines and tabloid jokes is a disturbing story about exploitation, power, and what happens when an industry treats a child like a scandal instead of a victim. And this story is wild. It is a disturbing example of generational exploitation, of a parent who is willing to sacrifice their child's safety and autonomy for a chance of attention, fame, and misplaced desire. And looking through this story personally, it causes me to ask, when mothers live vicariously through their daughter, where is the line between guidance and betrayal? But before we get into this very heavy and dark conversation, let's have a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is proudly sponsored by Paradise Paws. Paradise Paws is a charming Merge 3 game where you inherit a once thriving animal sanctuary on a mysterious island now in need of care. You and your best friend Lizzie uncover the island's secrets, stand up to greedy developers, and restore habitats for endangered animals. Every merge helps to rebuild your sanctuary and provides a safe home for these really sweet, adorable creatures. From land animals to sea dwellers, these are some of the most cutest animals in the world. My favorite animals are the little flamingos. I mean, for obvious reasons. Anything that's pink, cute, and serving is always going to be one of my besties. But the great thing about this merge game is as you merge more and more animals, you begin to see them develop and grow. Like, I've literally watched this baby flamingo go from a tiny little egg all the way to level 3. And at every stage, it has been the cutest little pink thing in the whole entire world. I find myself enjoying Paradise Paws quite a lot in those little quiet moments where I just need like a head breather, because it's not a particularly difficult game to grasp, but also it definitely is extremely engaging. Like, for instance, yesterday I was playing the game just after I finished feeding the kids. And the good thing about this is that Paradise Paws is completely free to download. And it's also perfect to play offline, meaning that you don't even need to be connected to Wi-Fi to enjoy some Paradise Paws. Also, it is ad-free, so you can play the game without having it interrupted with those pesky adverts, meaning that you're free to merge with absolutely no interruptions. Now, Paradise Paws has offered us a deal for the first 100 people who sign up to Paradise Paws using my link, which will be in the description box down below, or using the QR code that is currently on screen. You will get an exclusive baby penguin for your sanctuary. And I'm high-key jealous because I haven't seen the penguin yet. This little cutie will help you gather resources faster and will be named after yours truly or my channel. Could you imagine? Petty Penguin, Paigey Penguin. I feel like it works. So don't miss out and make sure that you download Paradise Paws now. It is available on Android as well as iOS, so definitely go ahead and check it out on your designated app store. And if you do end up downloading, take a screenshot and send it to my Instagram. Let me see what the cute little baby penguin looks like, because I want to see it. I didn't get this opportunity myself. Thank you so much to Paradise Paws for sponsoring today's video. And without further ado, let's get straight into the rest of the video. Courtney Stodden, born in 1994 in a small coastal town in Tacoma, Washington, Courtney was the youngest of 3 children. By Courtney's own admission, her childhood was beautiful and fun, a mix of family vacations, spoiling, and eventually something much darker. Courtney attended Ocean Shores Elementary School, and she identified as a Christian, with her mother stating that she was a good Christian girl. However, Courtney would develop problems at school due to the fact that Courtney developed pretty early. And by the time that she was 12, her mature looks made her the target of bullying that was so severe it left her with bruises, scars, and even broken bones. By 16, her mother pulled her out of school entirely, and she attended the Alpha Omega, an online private Christian academy based in Iowa, to get her education. And that left Courtney isolated, homeschooled, and just simply searching for a way out. And that way out would come in the form of Hollywood, or more specifically, in the form of a man who was 3 decades her senior. Now, Doug Hutchinson is a Hollywood actor who is most well known as a quote-unquote typecast character, as he tends to play very odd and disturbing characters. In Hollywood, he had literally built a reputation of deeply unsettling roles, like his role in Green Mile. He played the disturbing prison guard Percy Wetmore in Green Mile, Horace Godspeed in Lost, and Victor Toombs in The X-Files. Their internet courtship began in 2010 and later turned into a marriage that would completely shock the nation. 16-year-old Courtney Stodden would then go on to marry a 51-year-old Doug Hutchinson in Las Vegas, where it's legal. Barely. And this is because her parents had formally consented that she could be wed, which is legal in Las Vegas, surprisingly. And even more surprisingly, there are like 39 states in America that permit this. And as you can imagine, the headlines wrote themselves: teen bride, harlot, Lolita, gold digger. But what was missing from all of these headlines was the word child. Beyond that, there isn't really much to Courtney's story, as her life would simply change dramatically in 2011, when she premiered on national television as a hypersexualized 16-year-old girl who many saw as seeking fame and fortune in the arms of a depressed, recently divorced old man. The world saw Courtney as the predator and Doug as her victim. So almost overnight, Courtney Stodden went from being a small town teenager with big Hollywood dreams to becoming the poster child of a Hollywood scandal. And at this point in time, Doug had pretty much lost everything. No more acting deals, no more brand deals. Nobody wanted to book him. He lost his agent.
Doug's manager has dropped him. His mother cut him off. And the newlyweds could spend hours every day reading their own hate mail.
This girl is too young, and to me, this is abuse.
You're a whore. Go kill yourself. That's terrible.
You're an actor, Green Mile. You've got career here in town. I'm surprised that
You know what?
you would
can
do
throw
that.
down
You just threw your career away, by the way, haven't you? Right?
You know what? I would do it again, over and over and over, because I fell in love.
So exploiting their unconventional relationship became the new financial generator. And whilst nobody really wanted to work with Doug Hutchinson, everybody wanted to work with Courtney Stodden. We also have to remember that in this time period, we are talking like the early 2010s, when paparazzi were going out of their way to get the newest and latest upskirt photograph of Lindsay Lohan, Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, and Courtney Stodden was also one of those people. She was constantly followed by paparazzi every single place she went. Her privacy was completely non-existent. So in order to harness all of this public attention and fame, they decided to shop around a reality TV show surrounding them as newlyweds.
What do you know about Courtney and Doug's reality TV plans?
They have been approached, and they're in negotiations with like they said, an amazing production team. And we had so many people to choose from. We're talking the cream of the crop, the best producers, and it was really a hard decision, but they've come to a decision, and we're in negotiations at the moment.
However, due to the nature of their relationship, no reality show producers would bite. Not even TLC, who'll literally put anything on TV. But when it came to Courtney, reality TV show producers rushed to book her as a single entity. Every interview it is that she did with a major media brand like ABC wanted to exploit her. Talk shows would bring her on not to listen, but to laugh at her.
So let me ask the question that a lot of people must wonder. Why not wait till later to get married?
Because, you know, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. And I'm not a fearful person at all.
Why didn't you guys
fearless.
just date and become soulmates and date?
Because
why right
that's
to marriage?
dangerous. If we dated,
There's an age
he could
problem.
get put in jail.
She was framed as the punchline, the ditzy blonde who couldn't possibly know what it is that she's doing.
And while the story may sound disturbing, when you see them together, they're just like any other husband and wife.
You guys both made mention a couple times about wanting to do this, biblically, morally. Talk to me about the issue of premarital sex and the decision to abstain from it.
You want to answer that?
Well, Courtney was a Christian and saving herself for marriage. And you know, I gotta say, if there's only one caveat to the ocean between our age difference, I wished I was a virgin when we met. And because I think it's
It's fine that he wasn't. He's good. Whatever. It's a tiger.
oh God, you're so bad.
Let's give it a minute so that everyone's skin can stop crawling.
And due to Courtney's rising fame and stardom, Doug would always be there next to her to bask in her shine. He was only booked for TV gigs due to his proximity to Courtney.
The thing about us is we can laugh at ourselves. And that was part of what we were trying to convey on the show, is that Courtney can call me dad. I can say I'm raising my wife, and it's all in good humor.
Good humor. I don't call, Dad, come here. Come on.
And I'm not,
Again,
and
don't
I'm
take
not,
things too seriously.
And I'm not like, Courtney, go to your room.
No!
But despite the aggressive media portrayal of her as some kind of sex kitten archetype, few people actually stopped to ask what it meant to be a teenager who was sexualized so aggressively by mainstream media. Like, I shit you not, even down to on-street interviews it is that Courtney Stodden would do, the paparazzi who were talking to her would zoom in on her breasts. But whilst the media were focused on her breasts and whether she'd had breast augmentation surgery, nobody asked how much agency she truly had in a marriage that was orchestrated by her parents. She was so hypersexualized that at 17 years old, she was on the Dr. Oz show to prove to the world that her breasts were real, with doctors doing a live examination on her breasts in front of an entire studio audience.
So now the probe is angled upward.
Right. That's all normal tissue we're looking at there at the top, where the semicircle is. That's all normal.
Yeah, it's all normal tissue, I see.
Yeah.
So I guess she was telling us the truth. She doesn't look like she has an implant.
You do not have
And while she was able to prove that she had not had any surgical enhancements, again, we're talking about a 17-year-old child at that time. And in her first interview with ABC, when she debuted her relationship, her marriage to Doug, the media treated her like a common whore. They saw a teenager attempt to act like an adult as they were in an extremely adult position, and they were undoubtedly in an adult situation, and they labeled her a gold digger.
A lot of people online say you're a pervert. What do you say to that?
I'm a pervert. Courtney is a whore. People are welcome to their opinions. That's what the world is about. If they need to feel this way, that's theirs to hold, not ours.
What do you say to that, to people who think this is all a publicity stunt?
We knew this was going to happen. We knew we were going to have to weather the
storm,
the repercussions of our decision and our union. And this is just the beginning. And it brought us closer together.
Do you think marrying Doug will help your career?
If it does, you know, that's just another beautiful blessing that God hands to me. But if I'm just with him for the rest of my life and supporting him, that would make me happy too.
One of the many questions that people had when it came to Doug and Courtney's marriage is, how did they meet? Well, Courtney was introduced to Doug by one of her relatives and was then signed to Doug's production company, Darkwater. The pair of them got talking online and their relationship blossomed. And Doug speaks about this fondly in the ABC interview.
The way they tell it, Doug and Courtney's love story began when Doug, living in Los Angeles amidst the wreckage of 2 failed marriages and 1 serious drinking problem, hit rock bottom.
I got down on my knees and I said, send me an angel, please.
They say they met online and quickly developed an emotional connection. At first, Doug says he had no idea she was just a teenager.
It didn't make me want to walk away, but it definitely was a struggle inside my heart at that point in time because I had already started falling for her.
All the while, Courtney's mom, Krista, had been monitoring their exchanges, fully aware that Doug had decades over her young daughter.
And I said, if you are uncomfortable with it, I will respect you and Courtney will respect you and we will step back. So she said, I can feel my daughter's love for you. You know, you guys can get married if you want.
It is not every day that a man has to consult the statutory rape laws before proposing marriage. And by the way, to a young girl he had never met in person.
Another question that people had around the time was how and why did Courtney's parents consent to Doug marrying Courtney? Courtney's mother, Chrissy Keller, told Radar Online, "We are totally supportive of this marriage," continuing by saying, "Doug is a wonderful man and we love him." And Courtney's father, Alex Stodden, stated, "Every father can only pray to have such a man behind their daughter," despite his new son-in-law Doug being 4 years his senior. Following up with this, he said, "She's a beautiful girl. She has real breasts, real lips, and she's not plastic," which honestly to me is just so weird. And this isn't the only place that the weirdness goes with the dad. There's also photographs of Courtney and her dad on the red carpet where her father is slapping her butt in front of paparazzi taking her shot. Now forgive me, I don't know what it's like to have a father, but I'm pretty sure that's fucking weird behavior. Especially then to go on and speak to media about your daughter's attributes in a way that is entirely inappropriate. it kind of reminds me of someone.
I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Then after around 2 years-ish, it's about like a year and a half-ish, Doug and Courtney then started the process of separation. That's when the pair decided to go on the VH1 reality show Couples Therapy Season 2. In an interview for promo for the show with Access Live, Courtney and Doug sat down alongside a therapist to discuss how the current tribulations of their marriage was nothing to do with the 30-plus year age gap, and to do more so with Doug's loss of career after his decision to marry Courtney. As we know, he lost his agent, he lost brand deals, he lost opportunities, making, in my humble opinion, exploiting Courtney as their only access to financial revenue.
Our inspirations are people like John and Bo Derek. She was 15 and he was in his 40s. They had a 22-year marriage. She held his hand while he was on his deathbed. Celine Dion and Renee Angelil, he met her when she was 12, was her manager. Yeah. And
married
look at
way
them.
later. I mean, but we wasn't in a relationship at that point.
Well, come on. I mean, it was the beginning of their relationship.
I married him at 16. I knew what I wanted. And we're still together. You know, we've been married for a year and a half almost.
When these two came in, there's the obvious issue of the age difference that was a therapeutic issue, and also whether to have a baby or not. But exactly what you described, that Doug, when he married her, he lost everything. He lost his career, he lost everything, and Courtney very much became the center of his life, and that has been very bad for the dynamics of their relationship and created an enmeshment.
Now, unfortunately, I can't show you a lot of clips from the actual show itself, because I know for a fact they are going to try their best to copyright me. But what I will say is, in an episode, either episode 6 or episode 8, one of those two episodes, Doug speaks about some of the, what I would consider jealousy it is that he had towards Courtney. That like when Courtney would walk the red carpet, that she wouldn't hold his hand. That she would be so focused on getting the right picture that she would forget he was even there. That he didn't approve of the way it is that Courtney dressed and behaved around other people, and that he was embarrassed of that. Despite around the time it is that they met, that Courtney was very much hypersexualized from an extremely young age already. So much so that like one of the reasons that she was getting bullied in high school was because she had, you know, the big blonde hair, lots and lots of makeup, and would wear like stripper heels every day, doing like normal everyday activities. So it was kind of surprising to me to watch that episode and to see him kind of, I don't know, like take her down a few pegs for the way it is that she dresses, when ultimately this was the woman that he met and exploited for at that point almost 2 years. But he also stated in the same episode that he was uncomfortable with her ongoing friendship with an ex-boyfriend of hers. So it was very much giving to me like when a guy meets you when you're like living your best life, young, vivacious, dressing how you want, doing what you want, and then all of those attributes, whether it be physically or in your demeanor, the guy no longer wants you to exhibit that behavior out there in the world to anybody else but him. Kind of like, I met you when you were acting slutty, but I only want you to be slutty for me. So it was giving very much to me that Doug was somewhat intimidated by the fact that she was still extremely attractive to a lot of men who were probably closer in age to her. I mean, on another reality TV show, The Mother-Daughter Experiment on Lifetime, which was a reality TV show surrounding her relationship with her mother, we'll delve into that show a little bit later. Doug talks about, once again, Courtney's access to other men, and also states that around the time it is that he met her, again, they were talking around the time of 15, 16 years old, Courtney had like politicians and athletes in her DMs all trying to court her, which is absolutely wild to me because she was a fucking child.
Courtney was being courted by tons of men closer to her age, wealthier than me, more famous, from sports figures to politicians to sheiks in the Middle East.
Sheiks? How are sheiks finding a 16-year-old?
But again, I say all of this to say it seemed very much like Doug was insecure about her access to a lot of other men and only wanted her to perform the way it is that she performed when she met him, only for him. Very much controlling. Anyway, after the couples therapy TV show, they reconciled and got back together, and they stayed together until approximately 2016. But the cracks in their relationship began to show. Between the end of couples therapy all the way through to 2016, they had several public separations. At one point, Courtney even got pregnant for Doug, but unfortunately, 3 months into her pregnancy, she ended up having a miscarriage.
Hey Doug, very sorry for your loss. Is there anything you want to tell your fans?
Which in turn caused quite a lot of psychological trauma for Courtney. And many fans watched on as they saw Courtney Stodden kind of spiraling, but also doing other activities meant to heal, such as getting herself a reborn baby. But despite several separations, reconciliations, reality show appearances, and even a vow renewal, it all couldn't disguise the dysfunction. And as fast as the fame came was just as fast as it faded. And even being in a relationship with the only man it is that she had ever been intimate with, because she met him as a virgin, none of it could stop her depression. Courtney during this time states that she started to self-medicate with alcohol and drugs. She was stuck and lost in a life that was lonely with the only man it is that she has ever known. So by 2020, almost a decade after their marriage, after years of separation at this point, their divorce was finalized. And Courtney, now in her mid-20s, was left to piece together a life outside of the infamous role that she had unfortunately been cast in since she was 16. Okay, so during the time of Courtney's marriage and her fame in Hollywood, Hollywood treated her appallingly. Again, we have to remember this is the early 2010s where paparazzi's lurking around every corner trying to get the perfect shot that will hopefully pay off their mortgage. So capturing high quality photographs that can be sold to magazines and newspapers was big money. So paparazzi were literally everywhere. And with Courtney Stodden now being the new it girl, there was a lot of people who took this as an opportunity to bully a minor. CNN even had a show called Ridiculous, which was hosted by Anderson Cooper, where they would talk about all of the viral things that were taking place within the celebrity world. And Anderson Cooper took this as an opportunity to bully the teenager.
He's 51 years old, and a few weeks ago in Las Vegas, he married a 16-year-old girl. Now, a lot of people are making a bunch of noise about how the girl, Courtney Stodden, is a minor and how there's a 35-year age difference between them. Blah, 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 blah. I don't see what the big deal is. The wedding was on May 20th, according to my calendar. That was a Friday, so she probably only had to miss one day of high school. And what was she going to miss in 11th grade anyway? Algebra? Whoever uses that. But it did get me thinking, who is this young lady who found true love with a character actor in his early 50s? Luckily, like a lot of 16-year-olds, she has a YouTube channel where she posts videos, probably talks about her homework and getting her driver's license and Justin Bieber and stuff. Let's take a look.
When I'm a walking, I'll be dropping. He'll try to be sly when I walk by. It's not my fault, you can't control your guy.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm sure there's more to her than just that.
Don't put it on me, girl. Don't put it on me, girl. No, don't put it on me, girl. Don't.
Well, now, a lot of people are suggesting that someone should have told Courtney, don't marry that guy. He's too old for you. You have your driver's test coming up. Someone, like her parents maybe. But guess what, romance haters? Her parents gave their permission. So cool. But they also have instilled morals in their daughter. Here's another one of her YouTube videos.
I have never done pornography. I never will. About myself, I am a Christian girl. I hold my faith very tightly.
Believe me, you learn how to hold things very tightly when you go to the beach wearing nothing but the American flag. I like that at age 16, she makes it a point of pride that she's never done pornography. That's like basically saying, I'm about to do pornography, or I will do pornography, but I haven't done it yet. I wonder if her parents booked her for that photo shoot. They are so cool.
I'm a virgin, and I plan to stay that way until I am married.
Okay, a little bit of an overshare, but I'll say this about Courtney. She likes to keep it real.
My breasts are real. Everything about me is real. My hair is real. My teeth are real. My eyelashes are real. My breasts are totally real. You know, believe it or not, but they are.
Did she mention that her breasts are real? I think she mentioned twice. You know what else is real? Their love is real. Courtney, I wish you nothing but the best in your singing career and your marriage, but if it doesn't work out, someone's recently back on the market. And to all you haters, remember, age is only a number. 51, just a number. 16, just a much, much, much smaller number. Ain't love grand? So to all you doubters and haters, don't be too hard on these lovebirds, at least not until the divorce or the inevitable reality show about the divorce comes out. Until then, all of you are on the ridiculous.
But it wasn't just mainstream media that was attempting to bully this teenager. We also had celebrities who were bullying Courtney Stodden. And one of the biggest bullies was Chrissy Teigan. Now, we all know Chrissy Teigan as the ex-model and the wife of John Legend. She's also known as a presenter, as well as being somewhat of a homestead individual. She has cookbooks and a cookware line, which we will discuss shortly. In 2011, around the time that Courtney Stodden debuted her relationship and marriage to Doug Hutchinson, when again she was only 16 years old, Chrissy Teigan launched a series of tweets at the minor that were just completely out of control. Why do you speak like a Fabio book? At Courtney Stodden. At Courtney Stodden, do you have a family? ? You're like a bad Mad Lib at Courtney Stodden. Nil Curvy Bod never ceases to make me laugh out loud. Thank you so much, Courtney Stodden. You are truly a Twitter dream. You have rabies. Retweet Courtney Stodden. Go to sleep forever at Courtney Stodden. At Courtney Stodden, my Friday fantasy. You, dirt nap. Baby. Now, we have to remember around this time that Courtney Stodden, again, is 16 years old, posting about unrelated things to do with her life, like her dogs, her trips to the beach, vacations it is that she's taking. And Chrissy Teigan is just relentlessly atting her and shaming her for merely existing. But Courtney Stodden states, as we will see a little bit later, that some of the bullying it is that she experienced wasn't just public. Like, Chrissy would go into her DMs and bully her privately. On the 28th of April 2020, Courtney Stodden, whilst in the middle of writing her own memoir about her life story and kind of unpacking quite a lot of trauma it is that she's gone through, decided to take to social media, specifically YouTube, to speak about the bullying it is that she had experienced at the hands of Chrissy Teigan. Courtney states how she was harassed relentlessly, daily at some point, she states. And this all came about because Chrissy Teigan had opened up about online bullying it is that she has received, and Courtney had basically identified Chrissy as her bully. Take a look.
So as you guys know, I'm really hard at work on my book right now, on my life story. I'm going through a lot right now behind closed doors, and I'm coming to a lot of kind of like revelations, I guess, about the choices that I made, but also the choices that the adults made around me when I was a minor and got married. I'm becoming closer with my mom, which is awesome. My dad and I don't speak, and that hurts. But what really is bothering me too, that I think I need to discuss, is so-called celebrity bullying. And especially when there's a minor involved. So I'm just going to cut to it. There was a time in my life when I was 16 and 17 years old, being abused by an alcoholic almost every single night. After a while, I thought it was normal because my own father's an alcoholic, so I just accepted it. And then on top of that, I had so-called celebrities slut-shaming me, bullying me. So this video is definitely calling out Chrissy Teigan. She stalked me. She harassed me. She bullied me. And keep in mind, I was a minor. I was 16 and 17 during her period of bullying me and hating on me. I'm not trying to say that she knew what was happening, but when there was a 16-year-old married to a 50-year-old, and you have a celebrity with a platform like Chrissy's bullying a 17-year-old girl, 16, 17-year-old girl, it sticks with you. And I'm realizing how much Chrissy Teigen affected me. I tried to dig up some of her tweets. But she would tweet me almost every single day. She would call me a whore, a slut. She would tell me she hated me. She would just, every name in the book, she called me. And this was in 2012. I was 17 years old, and this is just proof that Chrissy Teigen, Courtney Stodden, I hate you. I saw her in the news the other day, and I'm thinking, and it was for something about how she's saying people are shaming her or something, But girl, you're a hypocrite. You shamed not only another woman, I never talked to her, I always looked up to her, but she was shaming me, and I was a minor, and I just wish that she would have seen, as an adult woman, at least that, maybe you shouldn't be hating on anybody, quite frankly, with a platform like hers, but a damaged teenage girl who now I realize I didn't have a lot of people other than my mother around me. And not only her, I mean, Anderson Cooper would make fun of me almost every single night on The Ridiculous. And he would be saying stuff about me all the time. But what really hurt me was Chrissy. And I still see her bullying people once in a while, but then when she comes out and she's saying that, she's stronger than people shaming her, well, you shamed a minor, an abused minor who was married to a predator at the time. I didn't even realize that. And she's shaming me. She even started a trend, on Twitter when I was a kid, and it broke me. So, shame on you, Chrissy. You have a baby girl, and I pray to God that you see how, you and John are great parents. So I don't think you're going to sign your girl to marry a man older than John. But I hope you can learn from this mistake because it's affected me. It's affected me, and I'm still blocked from your Twitter. I didn't do anything to you. So, it's just hurtful. I'm going through my process writing this book, and not only did I not have my father around and I was being abused by a man older than my father, but I also had celebrities like Chrissy and Anderson Cooper, among so many others. That's going to be revealed in my book. But I'm processing this right now, and it's wrong. So, I forgive you, even if you don't apologize to me, I forgive you, but the harassment, the slut-shaming, the bullying of a minor is wrong.
Now, after Courtney opened up about her situation, people started pulling up even more receipts to do with Chrissy Teigen and her bullying. Net citizens were even able to pull up tweets of Chrissy Teigen basically making self-harm jokes about Lindsay Lohan. Tweeting, "Lindsay adds a few more slits to her wrists when she sees Emma Stone." But as we already know from Courtney Stodden's video of her recollection of events, Courtney states that Chrissy Teigen has her blocked. Despite Courtney never actually interacting with Chrissy, and Chrissy being the only person to do these relentless attacks towards Courtney. But due to the negative publicity it is that all of this drama surrounding Chrissy Teigen being a bully was garnering, Chrissy Teigen actually ended up losing her cookware line deal with Target, and Target actually removed her items from their shelves.
Multiple retailers distancing themselves from the former model and pulling her cookware line after several startling accusations of cyberbullying from the past resurfaced. One example, reality star Courtney Stodden claims that the former model sent abusive tweets and direct messages when she was only 16 years old, with one shocking private message where Teigen allegedly told Stodden to commit suicide.
Now, obviously, because this has affected Chrissy Teigan's bottom line monetarily, she now has to do a social media post to say, oh my God, I'm so sorry for my past. And that is exactly what she did. In 2020, she made a post stating, not a lot of people are lucky enough to be held accountable for their past in front of the entire world. I'm mortified and sad at who I used to be. I was an insecure, attention-seeking troll. I am ashamed and completely embarrassed at my behavior. She then tweeted, I have tried to connect with Courtney privately, but since I publicly fueled all this, I also want to publicly apologize. I'm so sorry, Courtney. I hope you can heal now knowing how deeply sorry I am. Courtney responded to Chrissy's apology, stating on Instagram, I accepted her apology and forgave her, but the truth remains the same. I have never heard from her or her camp in private. In fact, she blocked me on Twitter. All of me wants to believe that this is a sincere apology, but this feels like a public attempt to save her partnerships with Target and other brands who are realizing her wokeness is a broken record. TMZ ended up catching up with Courtney Stodden at a PETA rally in July 2021, almost a year after the incident had taken place, where Courtney continues to refute that Chrissy's team never reached out to her.
Also, I know Chrissy Teigan says she reached out to you. Is that true?
You know what? I haven't received anything from her. I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know. She's never reached out to my team. I've never gotten any emails, anything. So I think I have a message for her, and I think that continuing to gripe about being in cancel club or whatever that is, I think step out, take your part, and maybe do something with charities. Step out, do something anti-bullying. If she really means what she says, get out, do something, and it really helps the spirit. It does.
Then, because Chrissy Teigan's public reputation was just in the gutter and she had not really recouped anything it is that she lost with her apology, Chrissy then goes on to the Today Show in October 2021, where she goes on to do what I believe to be an extremely PR positive interview with the Today Show, where Chrissy goes to promote her new book, Cravings Altogether, but also speaks about her past with cyberbullying. Please buy my book, guys. And how it quote-unquote made her a stronger person. Wow, we're so happy that you could move past all of the pain you've caused. But what I noticed in this interview, which makes me believe this is very PR positive, this is very marketing and everybody got together to work on this, is that Today Show host Honda Cobb sat down and spoke to her about the bullying, but didn't detail Courtney Stodden specifically, and basically describes her as this person, completely negating the fact that it wasn't just Chrissy Teigan bullying another individual and telling them to take a dirt nap. That wasn't the only problem. The other problem is that that person was a 16-year-old girl, was a minor when Chrissy Teigan was 27 years old.
Chrissy, good morning. We should point out this is your very first television interview since the summer, and there was a big kind of cyberbullying scandal then. So here you are. So I'm figuring since you're here, let's just talk about that stuff.
Of course, yeah.
You were accused of bullying some people online on Twitter, and a lot of people took it very personally. They talked about how painful it was. One person said that you said something to her, to this person saying, quote, I can't wait for you to die. And you apologized profusely. And there are plenty of things where you said, I was mortified, I was insecure, I was an attention-seeking troll, I'm ashamed. I just figure now we've had time to reflect, time to do the work. So did you ever get to the bottom of why did I do that stuff?
I feel like there was honestly so much, having this period of time and time to digest it all and to look back and to realize that honestly, there is always so much time to grow and to learn and to become more empathetic. I think the hardest part for me was realizing that, my goodness, this really had an effect on people. I think about how much I've changed just in the past year and how much I've grown and learned. And then to think of that in the term of a lifetime, how much room there is to always no more.
Well, you did talk about apologizing, which I thought was important. You said, I've apologized publicly to one person, but there are others, and more than just a few who I need to say I'm sorry for. I'm in the process of that. Have you been able to do that, and how was that received?
Yeah, it was nice to be able to have everybody's contact information and be able to reach out on my end. And if they accepted it, then that's great, but they didn't have to either. So yeah, you just kind of let people process the thing in their own way. You know, you don't want to say, there's that old cliche, like, I'm glad it happened, but I truly, it made me a stronger person, a better person. I feel I don't know, I feel like I've done the work, and I just hope these people can, forgive.
And this weird situation with Courtney Stodden, as well as Chrissy Teigan, still continues to this day. Like, I genuinely believe that Chrissy Teigan despises Courtney Stodden so much because of the impact it is that this woman has had on her career. Because even more recently, when Courtney Stodden, literally last month, came forward and defended Chrissy Teigan, because Chrissy Teigan was getting some backlash for appearing in Meghan Markle's Netflix series, and everybody hates Meghan Markle, so just the mere proximity to her makes her the enemy. Courtney publicly took to her Instagram and stated that people should not bully Chrissy Teigan, and that despite what may have happened in the past between them, the threats it is that Chrissy was experiencing was not okay, and basically, have we not learned anything? However, Courtney states in an Instagram reel that she had seen that Chrissy Teigan had seen her Instagram story where she was defending Chrissy Teigan. So Courtney took this as an opportunity to reach out to Chrissy directly on Instagram to basically say, hey girl, I'm here if you ever need a friend. But then she lets us know that Chrissy Teigan had seen her private DM and just never responded to her, leaving many people to feel like whilst the feud might not be ongoing on Courtney's side, it definitely is for Chrissy Teigan.
Okay, so I felt the need to address something. I've been getting a lot of people asking me how I feel about Meghan Markle having Chrissy Teigan on Love Meghan, her new cooking show. And my response to it is that I do not believe people should be bullying Chrissy. Have we learned anything? Two wrongs do not make a right. I posted about this, and I saw Chrissy Teigan was on my Instagram watching my story. So I decided to reach out to Chrissy on DM and tell her that I'm here if she ever wants to talk, and I do not believe people should be bullying her, and she shouldn't be listening to anyone who's bullying her. She has completely ignored me.
In an interview with ABC literally 6 months ago, Courtney Stodden sat down and actually spoke about how this whole situation with her and Chrissy Teigan really led her to a place of wanting to cease to exist.
I know she's saying that it was from alcohol or whatever she wanted to say it was from. Saying this to a child when you're the queen of Twitter, I did actually almost succeed at committing because of it was a huge part of it. I had a suicide letter written. Sorry. I remember my last thought was, maybe I don't deserve to be here when people that high up are telling me I don't deserve to be.
So from Anderson Cooper to Chrissy Teigan to mainstream media to the paparazzi, everybody had made Courtney Stodden public enemy number one. She had nowhere to turn, no one to look to, and even down to her parents. Her mother wasn't even truly on her side. Now, so far when we have spoken about Courtney Stodden's life, we have spoken mostly about her relationship to the media, her relationship with other celebrities, her relationship with her husband, but we haven't really spoken much about her relationship with her parents. Beyond the fact that both of her parents consented to her marriage to Doug Hutchinson when she was just 16 years old, citing him as a great guy, and that every father could only dream of having such a man behind his daughter. But upon further digging, it seems as if Courtney's relationship with her mother and her mother's approval of her marriage to Doug wasn't as innocent and as gullible as it may have seemed. During and after Courtney's marriage to Doug, it seems as if Courtney's mother had a huge amount of jealousy towards her daughter, almost as if she was living vicariously through her daughter. And in my humble opinion, like emotionally manipulating Courtney into having access to her lifestyle. Like it was giving very much, if Courtney has access to this lifestyle, I want a piece of that too. And this has made Courtney's relationship with her mother extremely unstable and raises the question, at least to me, whether her mother married her off to Doug in order to have access to him because she like Doug. I know, crazy fucking shit. So during the time that Courtney and Doug were still together, Courtney did a reality TV show with her mother on Lifetime called The Mother-Daughter Experiment. And the premise of the show is that a bunch of mothers and a bunch of daughters with dysfunctional relationships, all celebrities, would share a big house together where they would frequently get therapy together to mend their broken relationship. But it's my personal perspective that Courtney's relationship with her mother is so dysfunctional that even the therapist didn't really know what to do. On episode 7 of the show Three's a Crowd, the mothers and daughters are all having a group therapy session, of which the therapist then brings in Doug to have a conversation with Courtney and her mother about how Courtney's mother is a real problem for the dynamic of their relationship. Doug states that on numerous different occasions, Courtney's mother has attempted to try and be with him in a more romantic setting. Doug states that Krista had professed her love for him, of which she denies, and Krista states that Doug had asked her to come around and stay in order to prevent Courtney from leaving.
I think it was only about 2 weeks after we were married. Krista just threw this thing into a nightmare. She took me aside and professed that she was in love with me.
It's not true. He's already lying about it. So what do I do now? He's not admitting what he did. Doug said, I feel Courtney's getting ready to leave me. If you stay here with me, I feel that Courtney won't leave. And I made you that promise.
That's not true. And I have a feeling that every single thing that comes out of your mouth is about denial, lying, and manipulating for your severely narcissistic motives.
Now, both of these individuals are giving narcissists to me, so I don't know whose story to believe. But what was abundantly clear to me is that Courtney's life is being controlled by the adults who were sworn in to protect her. Now, as you can imagine, this is an extremely confusing place for Courtney to be in the middle of. Who does she believe? The woman who birthed her and who brought her into this world, who she believes should protect her? Or her husband, who she has been with for several years at this point? Who in her mind doesn't have any kind of ulterior motive to condemn the mother, especially if that mother consented to their marriage.
Krista was relentless about her feelings for me, how when she was lying next door, she was thinking about me, and it culminated into an unbelievable confession from Krista saying that when Courtney leaves you, I will be here for you because I am in love with you.
That's not true.
I'm not the only one who knows that Krista is a compulsive liar.
My mom fell in love with my husband, and she was thinking, you know what? Maybe this relationship won't work, and I'm going to marry him. It's a delusional fantasy my mom has played out in her head.
Was this a tactic from Doug to further isolate Courtney? Or was Krista jealous of Courtney and wanted to live her life? But then Doug decides to hit Courtney's mom, Krista, with some real dark, hard truths. That he was never interested in her, that he thinks that she made all of this up in her head, that she's completely delusional, and that he is not physically nor emotionally attracted to her.
I never felt we were friends. I didn't feel we were obviously not lovers, and I think that's your delusion.
What are you talking about?
Krista, I've said it before and I'll say it
It doesn't
again.
matter what you say right now because you're not telling the truth. I'm going to stand up to you. I'm a different woman, okay?
I don't.
You better be happy I wasn't the woman I am now when I signed that paper for her, okay? You just better count your blessings
You've got
on
a
that.
lot of anger.
Yes,
and
I do, because you're not telling the truth. That pisses me off.
I have never been attracted to you. I am not now, and I never will be sexually, emotionally, or otherwise, ever.
You, him, them, everybody.
Now, what's interesting about this scene is that Krista seems to be really emotional about the way that he's responded, leading me to believe that there might be some truth that Doug may have said these things to her. I don't know, just her overtly emotional response leads me to believe like it might not all be in her head, because it's clear, like, she's clearly a manipulative woman. So if she was in a place where she wanted to further manipulate, I don't think she would have exhibited behaviors of vulnerability, because it's clear what he said really hurt her feelings. After the therapy session, Krista, Courtney's mother, then sits with some of the other mothers in this mother-daughter experiment and basically admits to them that Doug had like these weird fantasies where he wanted Krista to show Courtney how to please him in some kind of weird, sick incest fantasy it is that he has.
Fantasy was Courtney and me in bed with him alone, and that me teach Courtney how to please him. He told me he had different feelings for me than he should have for his mother-in-law. And I told him that I was having, just some feelings towards him too.
Something's not right somewhere.
I don't know. And when he started the sex stuff, that's when I said, I gotta find me a man.
Then Courtney walks in, assumably hearing this conversation going on between the mothers, and then confronts her mother, stating that this isn't the first time that she has developed romantic feelings for one of Courtney's partners, and stating that it was actually Courtney's mother who brought that idea of that weird fetish, incest fetish, to Doug, as there is a recording of her doing so. So she basically goes and ambushes her in order to implore her mother to tell the truth.
Hi, sunshine. I have a recording of you.
Okay.
In my husband's Jeep.
Okay.
Saying, I think about you sexually all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You also then started joking and saying, well, what about, have you ever thought about like a mother-daughter thing?
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. Do you believe? Do you think
I
he's?
have it.
Do you think he's innocent?
You know what? This isn't the first guy that you did this to, by the way. I was 12 years old.
And then you started
That's a whole
falling in
different
love with
situation.
him. No, I did not.
Yes.
That's
Isn't the first guy you tried to do this to?
There was a 17-year-old. Listen.
I want to give this a rest.
I was able to take myself out of that situation.
Can we give it for today?
Okay, let Courtney finish her
Yeah,
bath,
let
and
Courtney
you
get
come, we
ready.
get you some
Let's go
food,
in.
we get some
Sure.
coffee.
Then the situation between Courtney and Krista amplifies as Krista basically states that she wants to leave the experiment. And whilst Courtney is filming her confessional, Krista bursts in and states that she's always said that she's had like an emotional attachment to Doug and that she was in love with him.
I don't want to be here. Then go home. I admitted that I was emotionally attached to her husband. I admitted that I told your husband that I loved him. That's the first time I just heard her say that. I say it on my interviews. Why don't you ask your husband what his fantasy was? You believe over me? Yes, I do.
I don't know whether to be concerned or entertained. I think I'm more entertained, and that's a problem.
I'm calling a car to come and get me. I love you. And you're my mother. She fell in love with my husband. The mom isn't supposed to do that. I need to have a mother, and I need to feel that mom side of her, and I just don't. Are you okay?
What's going on?
So that's how rocky Courtney's relationship with her mother was during her marriage to Doug. But even after, it seems as if things haven't really gotten any better. Courtney ended up having a Amazon Prime extremely budget reality TV show called Courtney. And on episode 5, titled Fighting It Out, Courtney speaks to a therapist about her past, her marriage, her relationship with her mother, also what medication she's on. She's on some depression medication, as well as medicinal cannabis. And the therapist encourages Courtney to sit down with her mother and have a chat about everything. So they meet at a neutral place in a park where Courtney has a conversation about an altercation that happened earlier on in the show. But this conversation spirals from the initial altercation into all of the things it is that Courtney has had to deal with throughout her life with her mother. To which her mother has the audacity to state that she is a ungrateful daughter.
I'm guilty of one thing, of spoiling you. Yeah.
Oh yeah?
I spoiled
Oh
you.
yeah?
And you're an ungrateful child.
Spoiled me
You're an
so much
ungrateful
to where you
child.
married me to an older man, older than my dad, and then you tried to steal him away from me? That's being
I never tried
spoiled?
to steal you him
That's
away
being
from
spoiled?
me.
Yes, you did! Yes, you
know
did!
What? If she's going to keep yelling, there's children around here. She has no respect for other people.
You do not tell the truth.
You want to be a victim.
No.
Yeah, you do.
Don't.
That's how you get your attention. You have a lot of family behind you and a lot of support.
That's how I get my attention.
And you're spoiled.
Thank you, Mom.
And you're ungrateful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're an ungrateful child.
Thank you, Mom.
You know, and a lot of people have children that are ungrateful. They do a lot for them.
Poor Krista Keller.
Like, I'm sorry, you have put your daughter through immense amount of trauma due to your negligence and you're calling her ungrateful? If I had made such an egregious misjudgment as a parent, I would be apologizing for the rest of my life. But her mother is just such a narcissistic parent that she just cannot see beyond herself. And when Courtney brings up that her mother was in love with her husband and attempted to quote unquote steal him from her, her mother responds by saying, if I wanted to take him, I could. He was actually interested in me first.
I got married when I was 16.
That was your choice.
You know what? You signed the papers because you didn't think that relationship could last. You weren't happy with my father, so you wanted to marry Doug. That's what you wanted to do, and that is the truth.
If I wanted to marry Doug,
when
he asked me out, I would have went out with him. Okay? He asked me out before he asked you.
No, he didn't.
Okay,
no, he didn't.
Yes,
You're a
he
liar. You lied to try to get your own way.
Don't you remember when he called me?
Constantly lied to try to get your own way.
Don't you remember when he called first and talked to me and said,
you have a thing for him. And it's amazing. You have had a thing for your child, 16.
I don't have a thing for your husband.
Disgusting.
No, I don't.
Hurt me so much.
No.
And you keep saying
I don't have a thing for your husband.
And you know,
just because you say it doesn't mean it's true, Courtney.
It doesn't matter.
You make up all kinds of crap all the time.
Now, I don't know if this is true or false, whether this is feelings of grandeur of the mother or whether this is something that is actually based in reality. But even so, let's go with the narrative that this actually is true and that he was more interested in the mother to begin with. Why in the fuck did you push your fucking daughter on that grown adult? Like, neither of this makes her look like a good person. Either you were a bad parent because you pushed your daughter on a man who was far older than her, that led her to be abused for years and years of her adolescent life and her formative years where she's growing up and becoming an adult, leaving her isolated with nowhere to turn, being thrust into the limelight for your own wants and desires to live precariously through her. Or you're a bad mother because you developed emotional feelings of love towards your daughter's husband. Like, neither of this makes you look good. And honestly, the whole situation makes me feel tremendously sorry for Courtney. So now that we understand the dynamics between her and her mother, let's get into where she is now and how she's moving on from all of this. So the marriage between Courtney and Doug, the 16-year-old child bride and the 51-year-old Hollywood actor. What has happened to both of these people since their marriage fell apart? Well, Doug in 2020 decided to release a book. His book is titled Flushing Hollywood: Fake News and Fake Boobs, a memoir. Now, I did attempt to try and get this book myself, but I can't get my hands on it anywhere. I don't know if it's just available in the US, but in the UK, I just simply can't get this book. Not even like a Kindle version. Now, Doug dubs this book as a memoir, but realistically, it's a tell-all. It's a salacious biography for everybody to get the gossip. And mostly, a lot of people really want to know about the relationship between himself and Courtney Stodden. 5 years ago, in November 2019, Doug posted an advert to his YouTube channel about the book. And honestly, it has to be one of the funniest fucking things I have ever seen in my entire life. He starts it off by literally just listing a bunch of terrible, nasty words like racism, sexism, misogyny, etc., etc.
Racism, sexism, betrayal, addiction, bipolarism, ego, infidelity, dishonesty, seduction, sex, lies, deception, revenge, greed, heartache, loss. Welcome to this toilet called Tinseltown, folks.
And then he introduces himself to the audience based on what people will recognize him from, which is most prominently his role in Green Mile. It was given, "Hi, I'm Troy McClure from Simpsons."
I'm actor Doug Hutchison. Most of you will recognize me from my role as the petulant prison guard, Percy Wetton, in the Academy-nominated movie, The Green Mile.
I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such movies as Cry Yuma and Here Comes the Coast Guard.
He then goes on to say, it isn't just salacious stories about Hollywood, by the way. It's also about my marriage to Courtney Stodden, which he labels as misunderstood.
Flushing Hollywood is a candid, scrupulous, no-holds-barred, tell-all account of my adventures in the toilet of Tinseltown, brushing up against celebrities the likes of Tom Hanks, Sean Penn, Jamie Foxx, Sandra Bullock, Samuel Jackson, Mila Jovovich, Leonardo DiCaprio, and many, many more. And yet, Flushing Hollywood isn't just salacious stories about my adventures with celebs down the rabbit hole of Hollywood. No. I also wax prolific about my scandalous and often misunderstood marriage to 16-year-old Courtney Stodden when I was 50 years old.
He then goes on to state, will Flushing Hollywood ruffle a few feathers? The answer is no. This video at this present moment stands at 3,146 views, and 5 of these views at the very least being from me just laughing hysterically at this advert. And then he ends the video advert by saying, will my book ruffle feathers? Well, as they say, if you don't ruffle feathers, nothing will fly.
Flushing Hollywood will ruffle feathers. Yet, as they say, if feathers don't ruffle, nothing flies. So fasten your seatbelts, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I'm Flushing Hollywood.
And he was dead ass. He was dead ass too. Flushing noises, the fucking glass, the whole nine. I cannot! Honestly, he genuinely thought he was going to shake up Hollywood with this book, but I promise you, nobody but 15 people bought it. And the 13 reviews on Amazon basically say it's trash. Then, in February 2020, he decided to go onto the morning show Sydney in order to do some promotion for his book. And I don't know if he was expecting that the interviewers, the presenters would, give him some grace in regards to his salacious book, but they did not hold back. Take a look.
And quite frankly, my book is never, by the way, although there are some salacious stories in it, it's never mean-spirited. It's not a bitter book. And so, because I'm not bitter, I'm not mean-spirited.
Well, Doug,
so there's a lot of...
Doug, you do take aim at several of your co-stars, Uma Thurman, Alicia Silverstone, Mila Djokovic, George Clooney, and a quote from your book, and it says, and this is your quote, these Hollywood sex symbols look like roadkill before the makeup chair.
Yeah.
That's not very nice.
That wasn't... Well, I don't know if I wouldn't qualify it as nice or not.
Then, after the March 10 debut of his book in June 2020, he decided to hire somebody to talk about the book in third person, almost as if he was like a news anchor, and that video is currently sitting at 642 views, where the quote-unquote news anchor talks about some shocking truths, such as a fake pregnancy, a fake miscarriage, a fake divorce, as well as a sex tape. Basically directing everybody just to look at the Courtney Stodden stuff in hopes that people would buy his bogus-ass book.
The Green Mile actor famously made national headlines in 2011 when, at age 50, he married social media sensation Courtney Stodden when she was just 16 years old. The relationship instantly derailed his acting career and, frankly, his life. Agents dropped him, managers dropped him, no studios were interested in working with him, and no Hollywood actor star wanted to work with him. In this book, Doug reveals some shocking truths. A fake pregnancy, a fake miscarriage, a fake divorce, a sex tape, and more. And all of these lies were for money. Or so he says.
The description of this video reads as follows. Controversial, even for him. Why did he write it then? Click on video to find out. Then order a copy for yourself for a special reduced price of only $10. This offer is only available only on FlushingHollywood.com. Everywhere else, including Amazon, the book is $19.99. Enjoy! So literally only 3 months after the book's debut, we have now discounted it almost half price and are trying desperately to grab the attention of Courtney Stodden fans. Just sad. You're going out sad, bro. And as for Courtney, what has happened with her? Well, she's remarried. She actually married in 2024, and she seems to be extremely happy. She recently sat down with Nightline to talk about her life and everything it is that she has been through, and how retrospectively she believes that she was groomed and manipulated by Doug, and also that she should have never been put in that situation, as well as the bullying and harassment it is that she has faced from celebrities as well as mainstream media. And just overall, just like a self-reflection of everything that's gone on. And I feel like now the world is receptive to hearing her out, especially in the wake of things such as Me Too, which in 2020, Courtney Stodden was a huge advocate for.
And that you also related to when you saw the Britney doc, all the paparazzi, that those were the same paparazzi.
Yeah, I recognized all of them.
What was that reaction like for you? How did you?
It made me feel less alone.
Were you in love?
I thought I was. I was in love with what he groomed me into believing was true. And I was in love with feeling so happy.
Special.
Feeling so special. And now in retrospect, I was never special.
When you look back on that, what goes through your mind?
If I could, I would go bust down that door mid-interview, grab her, and give her a hug.
In a statement to Impact, Doug writes in part, "These false, malicious, and egregious allegations are sadly and assumedly fueled by Courtney Stodden's insatiable and desperate desire to remain in the entertainment media limelight at all costs. Ms. Stodden has a history of unfortunate deception and/or exaggerations to depict herself as a victim, using unsubstantiated and provocative terms, incautiously, like grooming, abusive, and predatory. If you take the time to explore an unbiased deep dive into Ms. Stodden's deceptive and narcissistic nature, you would uncover a plethora of manipulative dishonesty."
And for much more on this story, watch Impact by Nightline, Confessions of a Child Bride, now streaming on Hulu.
She also recently came out as non-binary, identifying as she, they, as well as coming out as a bisexual. But it is kind of unknown what the status is of her religion. As we know, at one point she was extremely religious, but we don't know where she stands with that right now. I couldn't find any references as to where she stood religiously. She has become a huge advocate against substance abuse.
I suffer from depression. And also, I suffer from immense anxiety. And I don't know if I'm coping in the most healthy way. I am partying a little too hard, probably. I don't really want to get into a self-destructive pattern. I don't want to end up like that kind of person. If I continue down this path, I'm gonna end up there.
As well as continuing to promote veganism with companies such as PETA. Now, as we remember, in 2020, Courtney was in the process of writing her own memoir, but it seems as if that hasn't come to fruition. But what has is a deal between Courtney and Lifetime. She now has a Lifetime movie that will be coming out in the next 2 days on the 27th, telling her story from her point of view. In the Lifetime movie, I Was a Child Bride, the Courtney Stodden Story. So it seems as if not only is Courtney happy and fully embraced by the world as well as big media, she is also taking opportunities presented to her to reclaim her story. It was very clear to see from everybody across the world that Courtney Stodden was a star. Whether you loved her, whether you hated her, whether you hated what she stood for, whether you empathized with her situation, it's clear that she has a vivacious personality that everybody just wants to know. And her star shone so bright that it really could never be dimmed. I truly believe that no matter what it is that life handed to Courtney, she was always going to be a star. But now she is a star, but on her own terms. She is no longer the teen bride, the caricature that the world once mocked. She is now a woman who has survived a gauntlet of exploitation, misogyny, and tabloid cruelty. The truth of the matter is that Courtney Stodden was never the joke. The joke was on us, the culture that failed to protect a child, and instead turned her pain into our entertainment. Anyway, that is it from me. This has been an extremely difficult video to put together, but hopefully it all makes sense. I was a little bit all over the place, but hopefully you were here for the journey. Just want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys who have supported me on my last 2 videos. I truly do support the public support it is that you guys, Petty Gang, are continuing to show me. Sometimes I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome that like, I don't even know what I'm really doing here, but you guys always show me like over and over again that I was meant to do this. Like I was literally meant to talk my shit. The last couple of videos, including this one, has been less scripted, meaning that I'm relying more on notes rather than a full-blown script. So hopefully you guys are feeling that it's less robotic. I think that that's what's resonating with you guys. And if you like it, I will continue to talk my shit very openly and frankly, the way that I always do, bitch. I also want to say a massive thank you to Paradise Paws for sponsoring today's video, as well as asking you guys to make sure to click the link in the description box down below to make sure you get your little free penguin. Besides that, make sure you follow me on all of the socials. It's at PaigeChristieUK on everything, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitch. We are on Twitch 2 times a week again. And I know a lot of people have been asking me about the podcast. I'm reworking the podcast. I really don't know what I'm doing with the podcast right now. My podcast was feeling very generic, so I feel like I need to work out like a niche and something that really makes sense instead of, you know, another podcast. Like everybody's got podcasts, but I want mine to be different. So please hang tight on that channel. We will resume, but when I figure it out. But also, if you guys have suggestions for the podcast, feel free to leave them down below. And with that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day or evening, whatever the hell it is you are doing. And until next time, it is your girl, Paige Christie. Bye.
Yeah.